welcome back. Nicola here, the outreach specialist with REE Medical. Today, I am so excited and so honored to introduce Randy. He is another one of our veterans who went through the REE Medical process. So excited to share with him just about his whole experience, what it was like, any pros, cons, whatever you want to share, Randy. The floor is yours. But thank you so much for being here today. It's so important that we do these types of videos just to help spread the word to other veterans who might be interested in learning more about our services and what we do and the process as a whole. As you know, we are a neutral third-party company. We help veterans with their disability benefits through disability benefit questionnaires, as well as Nexus letters. So Randy, welcome. It's so awesome to meet you in person and, well, virtually, I should say.
Yeah.
So thank you. If you wouldn't mind just telling us a little bit about yourself, where did you serve? How long were you in the military for? Would love to hear your story.
All right. Well, thank you, Nicola. It's really great to be here. I'm excited to speak to you today about REE. I think it's a great benefit for a lot of veterans that can use it. I started my military career with the U.S. Air Force, did 29 years, 28 and a half. Just about 29 years. I was in what's known as security police, security forces, and I spent a lot of time as an instructor, training, did a lot of, the Air Force does a lot of combat skills training for those that need it, but not everyone. So different than the Army or the Marine Corps, where you go in as a rifleman first. Everyone's, a fighter. Not everyone in the Air Force is that way. Sometimes we get picked on. They're going to call us the chair force. That's okay, because we sit in chairs while we fly jets. And it's all good. But I was a ground pounder in the Air Force, basically in the light infantry of the Air Force. And I had a really enjoyable career. I really got to do what I want. Traveled around the world, saw a lot of the world, sometimes places where people don't like you. That's okay. That's what we're there for. But my family and I got to, that was our life. So for us, it was the best of times and the worst of times. But that was our life, and it was a good career, and I'm really glad I got to do it.
Well, I love it. 29 years. That's incredible. That's a true dedication to your country. And thank you for your service, sir. That's incredible. So I'm so curious. So when you finished the military, obviously, disabilities, I'm sure you had people tell you, got to file, got to put in for claims, disability. Did you do that right away? Did you do the process first, like on your own? What was sort of your experience, with the VA claims process before working with REE?
Yeah, well, I knew I was going to transition out, and so I kind of dove into the VA because I knew I was switching from Monopoly, or I was going from chess to checkers, or checkers, more like checkers to chess. Uh, you know, so I was leaving one system and going into another. And the Air Force facilitates that. They have transition programs and that. So I just tried to learn as much as I could. And at the time, the VA was going through its, at the time, new 2014, 2015, where you could actually file before you retired. So I was kind of one of those test guys. I went in like the day I could, and I, started doing everything I could to get ahead of it. And because I had a lot of pretty, pretty, some people would say catastrophic. I don't know. They weren't catastrophic to me, but I had, metal put in my leg, metal in my shoulder. Um, I had some pretty serious injuries doing what I did. And so I had a lot of the doctors say to me, "Oh, you're going to be 100% the day you go out. You're going to be." And they would say these things, and of course, you're like believing them. They're doctors, right? They got plaques on the wall. Um, and yet, when my claim got filed and everything, I think my original was a 70%. And you learn a lot about the VA also when you get that first uh, claim, and that might seem a lot to some people, but considering that I was already walking with a limp and some of the other things that were wrong with me. Um, you would have thought it was more, especially what doctors said. So, I didn't really know what to do. I filed, the appeal process. I went for a year and a half. So a year and a half, and that got me bumped to 80%. And you were like, wow.
A whole year and a half just for 10, just for
Yeah, yeah, for
10%.
10 points. And for
Got
those
it.
who don't know the way the VA does that scale, getting to 50% is really important because that's when concurrent money can be paid in a disability check.
Mhm.
I mean, you can find out more of this stuff, how it all works and everything.
Right.
But for every percentage that you get, it's not like they do additive. And I know you know this, but people watching the video
People
may
watch
not.
exactly.
To
Yeah.
go
The
from
VA
50 to
math is
60, yeah, to go from 50 to 60 isn't 10%
right.
more. It's like something like 80% more. And then
Right.
70 to 80 is more. And each one of those jumps in 10% increments is really difficult. Um,
Absolutely.
so finding out about RE and what you guys do, it was a game changer. Yeah.
Well, I love hearing that. So, okay, so once you got that extra 10 and you're at 80, how long did you sort of sit at 80 for? Was it a couple of years? And then when you did find out about RE, was it through other veterans who had used our service, or did you kind of research on your own?
I got the 80% and I was like, well, I guess, there you go. I've done the process and I've done my appeal. Game over unless I want to go get a lawyer, I guess and I really wasn't there. I was just going to go live my life. And then about maybe another year and a half later, a major Donna Porter Simmons. Unfortunately, she's passed away now from something else. But she contacted me, and she had worked for me earlier. And she contacted me, and she said, "Hey, sir, I heard about this thing, and I did it, and they were really helpful, and it worked really well. And it was RE. Never heard of you, never knew anything about it. So I kind of dove into it, and so I saw all your stuff, but I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop kind of guy. So I started talking to other people, and every single person that had used RE that I did contact seemed to be able to refer me to other people then because they had all achieved 100% is one thing, which it can be a goal. It doesn't necessarily have to be your goal, and you might not be a person that can receive 100%. But but that's the way it worked for me. And so, I'm the kind of person that is interested in longitudinal success. That's the way I've kind of lived my life. That's the kind of things that I put out there. I don't have Randy's plan. I have a longitudinal plan. If it worked for somebody a long time ago, they showed somebody and it worked, then maybe I'm in that chain and it worked for me. Then I tell somebody it works, then they tell somebody it works. I call that longitudinal success. That means something pretty much works.
Well, and I love hearing that you did your homework too, like
Yeah.
anytime when I talk to people, some people are super skeptical, they hear about other companies out there similar to ours that maybe aren't veterans who have gone through the process maybe didn't get the same sort of results or the same type of care. And so some people are skeptical, some people just are unsure about the whole process. So, we try to be
Yeah.
very, as very transparent about our reviews, the interviews that I do, our free consultations. We try to be very upfront and very honest and thorough with the process. So, but I love that you did your homework because a lot of veterans will, I think the biggest, um, through this whole process for veterans is veteran word of mouth, is if a veteran has used it,
Yeah.
another
Agreed.
veteran and another veteran. I mean, you can read positive reviews and things that we can push out all day long, but I think veterans referring veterans are the key, because veterans are going to listen to other veterans who have
Yeah.
used the process, who have
Absolutely.
gone through it. They're not going to click on an ad or something that they see. They're going to go straight to their brothers and sisters who have gone through the process. So I love that you did that. So, okay. So when you signed up with us, kind of from beginning to end, what was sort of your experience like? It's very different for everyone. Some people may
Yep.
have to wait a little bit longer than others. Obviously, once you submit everything with the VA, then there's the waiting process, obviously, with the VA. But what was sort of your, from beginning to end, your experience like?
Yeah, I don't know if I had a blessed process or a lucky process. You say what you want. I was pretty happy with it, about 2.5 months. And I would say that that's probably on a bell curve towards the very short end of what a process would take. Mine just aligned up in the sense that the things that REE was able to look at um, were like my leg and like my shoulder, and the military had given me, like percentages based on scars versus percentages based on lack of movement, range of motion, things that you can get much higher ratings for. And so, I came into RE. I knew you had to pay some money up front, hence doing the work. And what I really liked about RE is they look at your stuff and they they tell you, look, we really think we can get higher in these areas. These ones over here, not so much. And then it's up to you to decide whether you want to go after it. Now, it's always going to be a VA decision. But my experience, the veterans before me and the veterans I've since referred have all had the same experience with you guys. And that is with RE is that RE is very either knowledgeable. Again, I don't work in your organization. So you're either very knowledgeable and knowing exactly what you can get. And I think that's what it is, which is another kudo for you guys. Um, so what you do is you tell the veteran, look, we really think in these areas we can get an increase. These areas over here, we could submit, we might get something. These ones over here really aren't worth submitting. And going into it, that's what was told to me. I went with that. I paid my first payment. Then we went through the process. Every single thing that RE said that I would get, I got, which was pretty amazing. And I don't know if that's true for everyone, but that's how it happened for me. And so I did make the jump from 80 to 100, which I think is fairly significant in percentages for the VA. I would say much more significant for me in a paycheck and a disability check. And it gives me freedom to do a lot of the things that I, need to do, frankly. The physical therapy that I pay for on the outside. I can't go to a VA the distance of travel. So I'm using that money for doing deep tissue massages, which may you put the word massage in there and people think it's fun. That is not fun. That is, yeah, that's pain. Um, so that's what I'm using that money for, and I appreciate that.
I love that. And that's a huge jump. A
Yeah,
lot of people don't realize that. And I mean, you touched on it perfectly a minute ago where, you said we are very upfront with our consultations. Our
yeah,
consultations are completely free. So I always like to tell people, hey, it doesn't hurt to just reach out to us and do a consultation with us, because whether you need it now or you don't want to do it now, or it's
sure,
not for you, or maybe try later, it doesn't hurt to just do a consultation because it's completely free, and like I said, our benefit consultants, we're very transparent. We're not going to sign you up for something that we don't feel you have a really good shot and a really good chance at. Obviously, like you said, the VA does make the final decision on that. So, we can't make any guarantees, we can't make any promises, but we are very transparent about the reviews. And like you said, going through everything that you have, service connected, the things that aren't service connected. If they had any denials within the last 5 years, we could potentially help with a nexus letter. So we are very thorough with that. So I love that that was your experience, and 80 to 100, that's incredible. That's a huge jump. I'm so happy for
yeah,
you.
it is. I mean, those that understand it, you can look these up online. I mean, that was a significant amount of entitlement
Right.
that I had earned, and now your company got it for me. So that was an easy. I mean, I made in with my jump, I made the money back that I paid you in one VA payment.
Isn't that
Pretty,
amazing?
again, not everyone's going to do that, but I
Right.
understand, at least for me, that was more than significant. So I'm
Absolutely.
I'm a big fan, and I go and as you may or may not know, I think you do. I attend a lot of veterans get-togethers, things of that nature that I'm included with. Uh, at the appropriate times, I'm always bringing up RE, and I have now
Oh,
gotten feedback from a lot
thank
of other
you.
vets that I've told. These are guys I didn't even know.
That's
Um,
incredible.
I'm
Thank
a
you for doing
generation. My
that.
stepfather was in Vietnam. I'm a generation after that. I joined in 1986. Um, and yet, in one of my organizations, the Volant Scorpion organization, it goes all the way back to 1966 Vietnam.
Wow.
So a lot of these guys that are in this greater organization, and we're still churning out guys today. So it's I tell everyone about RE, and I even tell the brand new young guys. I said, keep track of every injury you've had,
Yes, I
and
know.
make
That's
sure you go get it documented, because typically we didn't, and that was kind of a lot of what I
right.
did. I wanted to stay in the military. When they
Mhm.
operated on my leg, well, I could show you a picture, but I'd have to find it on my phone. I got that long of a piece of metal in there and 6 deck screws holding my
Oh,
holding my bottom tibia and
yeah.
fibula together down there. Um, and that
That's
happened
wild.
in a helicopter landing. We call that. That's called a crash. A controlled
Landing.
landing. A controlled landing. I wanted to stay in the military, so I was still young enough. I worked hard, did all my. I could have got out then if I'd have probably tried, but I wanted to stay in and everything. So you end up almost doing the opposite of what you should do for retirement, in the sense that oh yeah, it doesn't hurt. Oh, it's fine. It's great. No, I'm good. And you're seeing all that. And by the time you get to retirement, and now you're like, oh, I can hardly walk, because all the arthritis and the other complications of age and those things, they conspire to create a bad outcome.
Yeah.
So
Well, and
yeah,
you and I were talking the other day too, is a lot of the things that happen when you're in the military, this stuff doesn't show up until later, the
yeah,
symptoms, the things getting worse. And so I think that's why a lot of veterans, like, it's so important to document that stuff, because even if necessarily not right now you're feeling it, you could later. And
yeah,
that's when a service like ours really, really can be beneficial, because if you don't have that stuff documented, if you don't have that stuff, I mean, even if it's like minor stuff, like you said, just getting it documented, even if you don't need it later on, it's better to have it and not need it rather than not have it and need it. So
absolutely.
that's what I always tell people. I'm like, just go, just document it. And but that's incredible. So I have to know before we wrap up here, when you did receive the decision, where were you? What were you doing? How did you feel?
It originally was just a phone call, and okay, rank it on, getting married, having a baby, getting that phone call. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not those, but it's a pretty darn good phone call, because what it did for me is I'm also permanent. So for the rest of, at least for waking up in the morning, I'm going to get one of those non-taxable VA disability checks for as long as I live. And every time there's a COLA increase or whatever, just like my military paycheck that I got, it's gonna increase. And I know a lot of vets. We use the word entitlement, and I know in our society now that can be a negative word too. That's what it's called. It's an entitlement, and that's what you earned for going to Iraq, for going to Afghanistan, for going to Vietnam, for going on these deployments, or for 3 years in the guard and you got run over by a tractor, one day. You earned that because you said I do in an all volunteer service, and joined up to protect your nation. And part of what this nation does is it gives back, thank God, for its veterans. So you earned the stuff. Now it's just a matter of making sure that you get what you earned, and everyone should be able to do that. And you guys, that's what you facilitate. That's what you make happen.
Oh, well, thank you, Randy. That honestly, it's been such a pleasure speaking with you. Like I said, I don't normally, a lot of our interactions with veterans are just via email and phone calls. So it's so wonderful to like put a name to a face and actually get to meet you and just hear your story. And like I said, these videos are just so important because other veterans who are interested and wanting to know about the process, they'll watch something like your situation and have a very similar similar time, and they'll want to hopefully, hear more about it. So that's so exciting. But thank you so much for chatting with me today. I appreciate it.
Thanks. I really enjoyed it. And
awesome, Randy.
I appreciate you guys. That's why I did it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Randy. Well, we'll chat with you soon.